Welcome back, everybody, to Oof to Premium. I'm your host, Darren Walters, and it's very good to have you here because in this particular video, we're going to follow up on our previous video, which mentioned the harvest stacks and the anchor crop. But I fumbled around with the details on that, and so here I want to add clarity to the situation and make sure we've got a thorough understanding of what it's all about. Okay, and so that's one aspect of the video. The other topic we're going to talk about is the possibility of spider crops. Okay, and both of these are scoring enhancements in the game, and so it just combined, they add a lot of spice and variety to the already myriad ways that you can score at UFTA. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and revisit these harvest stacks. So again, definitionally, a harvest stack is one where you place crops in the market using a new action called a stack action, and it can only be activated, or it can only be used on die roll 4. Okay? And so, bearing that in mind, we also have to have an anchor crop harvested in order to harvest the stacks. Okay? And so what do I mean by an anchor crop? Well, the anchor crop, simply put, once you place, let's say, a crop in the market, the anchor crop has to be planted and cultivated and harvested and all that good stuff on your farm, and it has to match the top crop of a stack. Okay, so in this case, the simple example is I've got the squash. It matches the top crop. I don't have it on the right field, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. As long as the crop gets harvested, we're good to go. And so what happens? I'm going to figure out, first of all, where my anchor crop is being harvested, and I will always take the higher number if it's a combo or something like that. You're free to pick the highest amount that you want, and then you can include the stack. And for every element in the stack, it's going to have the same value as the anchor crop harvest. Okay, so that also includes bonuses. You know, if you've got it planted on the right field, that's 3 extra points. And then, of course, if you have it planted on the right field and during the peak growing season, that's going to be, of course, an UFTA, right? Okay, and so, yeah, what's happening is that's the stacks. Now, there's 2 types of stacks. There's what I would call a dirty stack and a clean stack. Okay, and so a dirty stack is one where you know, let's say you've got a couple of different crops here, and even though you've got, let's say you've got your anchor crop and it matches on the farm, what doesn't match is the very bottommost crop. Okay, in this case it's peas, and our anchor crop is squash, which matches the top crop. Okay, so that's going to be a dirty harvest, and you're only going to get face value plus bonuses if they're applicable. You're only going to get face value and for each crop that's in the stack. Okay, all right, and so also I want to make sure it's clear, we don't move the stack even though we're harvesting the individual crops. The stack is going to stay put until we get to the bottom. Okay, and then if we happen to have the bottom stack, the bottommost crop in a harvest, then of course we will move it. Okay, that's going to save some confusion, I feel. So anyway, so that takes care of that. That's a dirty stack. So what's a clean stack? Well, the clean stack, as you might imagine, is one where the crop that's on the bottom matches the top crop in the stack. And so then it's going to have a new name. It's going to be called a sandwich because we got like and like on the bottom and the top. Okay? And so what's the difference? Well, when you score a sandwich, what's going to happen is you'll take all the face values plus bonuses, and then you're going to double that amount. Okay? Because putting things within a frame of two different crops doubles that figure. Okay, and so that's a wonderful bonus there for creating a what's called a clean harvest. Okay, so definitionally, a clean harvest is simply one that has a sandwich in it. Okay, if you don't have a sandwich, it's dirty. Okay, so that takes care of that. And I don't think we have any further issues as far as definitions or common usage. So I think we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is a spider crop, right? And so what's that? A spider crop is a unique way to kind of control the market, okay? So instead of doing the normal thing, which is farm production, you grow your crops, you cultivate them, you harvest them on the farm. An alternative method of scoring allows you to actually take a crop out of the market using die roll 6, the remove action. Okay. So of course you have to roll a die roll 6 in order to do a spider crop, and it's a die roll 4 is the only thing that activates the stack action. Okay, so let's say I did roll my die roll 6. I use my remove action, and I'm going to just pick a crop, squash, and that's going to become a spider crop. And so what I do is I place it on my farm. I place it away from the harvest piles that are gathering around the fields, okay, because I don't want to mix that stuff up. Okay, and so I place it kind of maybe vertically on my farm. And then the other thing I do is whatever value it had in the market, in this case it's 11, I'm going to actually use up some hunger tokens and get that 11 amount placed on top of my squash. Okay, that just is an identifier. It helps us remember who's got what crop in the market, because of course the spider crop is available to everyone who rolls a die roll 6 and uses a remove action. So there may be multiple spider crops within a single game in operation. Okay, and so I created my spider crop. Well, what does that mean? Well, the idea is instead of harvesting the squash, placing it on your farm and harvesting it the traditional way, what you're going to do is the squash is throwing or casting a web that connects it to all of the adjacent crops with that space. So in this case, for instance, and it includes left, right, top, bottom, and diagonal. Okay, so in this case, I've got the blank space, so I can cast the web up, down, to the left, and then diagonally to the upright, or diagonally to the down right, in this case. Okay, so of course it depends on where you place your spider crop, and that affects the number of connections you can make to adjacent crops. Okay, and so what's the connection? Well, the idea is every time the adjacent crops are harvested by opponents, okay, and it has to be by opponents. It's not going to be, there's not going to be a special bonus if you harvest your own adjacent crops. So we want to make that clear. But the idea is, yeah, if your opponents come up with this scoring opportunity, then what's going to happen is you're going to, as the spider crop owner, you're going to get half value for each of those adjacent crops that are being harvested. Okay? Now, as far as I can tell, there's no special bonus beyond half value. However, let's say you own 2 spider crops, in this case cucumbers. So I'd get the cucumbers, and then of course I'd make sure I have the money on top of it, indicating its status in the market. And so what's going to happen there is we can figure out that we have 2 spider crops that are adjacent to each other, and that adjacency gives it an extra value. So instead of collecting half value for all the adjacent crops, the spider owner of 2 spider crops, the owner of 2 spider crops is going to in fact get full value for the adjacent crops. And so you can probably extrapolate out there, if there's 3 spider crops connected to the same crops, then they're going to get, it's going to be double, right? It's going to be double the regular harvest amount. So that's an impressive goal or aspiration or motivation or whatever you want to call it, to try to score as much as possible via a passive sort of activity. Well, it's an let's be clear. It takes a remove action, okay? And then the other stipulation is these spider crops also have to be in the cultivated position, so they have to be cultivated. So you have to pay for that during your cultivation phase. There's going to be an added cost, but the payoff is, of course, half value for all connected crops. Okay. And similarly to regular crops, after you collect a harvest, the crop status of the spider crop is going to go back to regular uncultivated status. Okay, so it's always going to be another action. It's always going to be another 2 actions to cultivate and harvest the crops. Okay. So that's something to bear in mind as you're playing the game. You can collect these spider crops. Now, of course, let's talk about defense against them. If I want to play against somebody who has a spider crop, or I don't want them to make those connections in the market, one thing I can do is I can take a trade token, right? I'm sorry, not a trade token. You can take a wild card crop. And unfortunately, I don't have an example with me right here. It's still being manufactured. But the idea is the wild card crop can fit in the market, and that is going to basically shut down the connection of the spider crop to all the adjacent crops in the market. Okay, so you've neutralized it. Okay, so long as that wild card crop is there. The other thing you can do is you can raid, you can sabotage raid somebody's spider crop, okay, but of course they can also protect it with guard tokens or with fender doodles, right? Can fender doodles be placed on spider crops to double their earning? Well, I don't see why not. That's another possibility in the game. So yeah, you can go that route. Okay, and so that's another way to combat against the spider crop. The other thing you can do is you can place a new crop in the market, and that will also neutralize the effect of the spider crop. And so to do that, yeah, I'm gonna say, well, yeah, on second thought, let's not say we can do that. I don't think you can do that. Anyway, so that's gonna take care of that. Just because someone has a spider crop, it doesn't mean that opponents can't continue to grow multi-crop combos, okay? Just because it's missing in the market. You'll still get your full value for 3, 4, 5, 6 crop combos, okay? It's just that, you know, the owner of the spider crop is also going to be collecting their bonus as well, okay? All right, so that takes care of spider crops. I'm not sure what other. It seems like there's always information that I need to get to that I'm not conveying to people, and, and in this case, there's no exception because, of course, adding these special scoring features adds quite a bit of permutations and possibilities to the game, and I doubt that I can. I just can't think of everything. Darn it, I'm a human being, and I have limited cognitive abilities. So, in my finite state, I think we're just going to leave it at that. So, hopefully, this wasn't too confusing for you. If you have any further questions, go ahead and leave comments and suggestions below the video. And I think that's going to do it for me. So, until next time, everybody, keep on playing some Mufta, and I'll see you then. Adios.